It's 5:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is Decree and It Shall Be. I'm going back in time. No, this is Circle of Grace 1 with myself, Brother Francis Revels-Bey. And getting a lot of interesting things. And we just had one of the other elements popping up into our format. And I'm on right now. I'm just want to set up my chat room, get it going. Until I do that, I'm going to say, through divine power and by divine grace, may all of you who are gaining this opportunity to join me this evening for our 90-minute show, may you be blessed by all the information that you receive here. May you sense and feel how it flows for you. Maybe this will be even a more uh, vibrating show for you. The reason I call it that, because we're going to talk a little bit tonight about enhancing yourself as a vibrational being. And I know that, excuse me, that this information is going to come through clearly because there's so much energy that's pouring through. And I'm going to use an old phrase that my mom and dad used to say when they didn't feel well. They would say, I'm under the weather. And I would say, yeah, we are under the weather because we're under a lot of things. And, excuse me, I'm going to make sure that this information gets out. This is really a continuation over the next couple of weeks from actually from yesterday Blog Talk Radio show into today, and then again on Blog Talk Radio. I'm going to incorporate this teaching on being a vibrational being. Several years ago, my topic was on you are a sentient being. And in the word sentient is the word sense. And so, which means that we can sense, which means to feel things on many, many different levels. So, part of this affirmative prayer and decree is for you to come into the understanding that you also can decree a new existence for yourself. You can speak words into effect for yourself, and these words spoken can change, literally change your environment over a period of time. And there are so many different ways in which this can be accomplished, not only through meditations, but very potent prayers. Also, people who practice solar techniques, they're doing it that way as well. Um, Also, I want to let you know that you can do some things in regards to astral traveling, which is some very, very new, potent information. I'm reviewing the way I used to do it, and I'm going to be coming up with some brand new ways of doing it. And I've always have incorporated certain techniques that I have applied, which revolves around, I'll give you an example, one of my longtime clients that I've been giving consultations to since she was 19, and she's in her 40s right now, early 40s. And when I lived back east on Long Island, and she was in Jersey, and I worked in Jersey, so I've done a lot of energetic techniques with her that I learned from others, and then I reincorporated them into my own way of doing things. And over a period of time, I received through deeper realms of meditation how to utilize them so that people could further use them. And my energy is really high. I did some fasting, 3-day fast. My whole system was thrown off a little bit, but that's what happens when you are detoxing, there's a lot of things that come up and that you release physically, emotionally, mentally, and also old information with yourself spiritually. So I'm not sure how my chat room is going to come into play here because this laptop is bouncing all over the place, and I know it has to do with my own energy right now. And you may see me, I may not see myself. I tell you, this energy is very, very high right now. So bear with me. You can hear my voice. If your picture pops out, what happens, like mine just popped back in after being out for about 30 seconds. What will happen is you don't really miss any words because it just goes back and kind of brings it forward, okay? So you will be able to receive this information and really go with the flow of it. Um, so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart this prayer again because there's so many potent things within the prayer that's going to trigger energy fields around you. So, when you hear me release this prayer and decree to you, I want you to receive it. If it resonates with you, I want you to receive it in the manner of a meditation. Uh, because we're talking about vibrational beings and that you're a sentient being, that you can sense things at a distance from you, you can sense things right in front. And what I want people to be able to do and realize is that you can sense information that's right in front of you. It doesn't have to be, way down the block and around the corner or out of the country. You can sense it here as to what's going on around yourself, and over a period of time be able to continue to clarify information that you see there. So I'm going to say it again, and just I want you to take this in as a meditation. Place the tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your two front teeth, and as you do that, I want you to allow yourself to just go into a very nice energy flow of breathing. You don't have to hold your breath in or out. Just know that this information will just begin to take off with you, and understand that all will be well. I mean, we're at a time where things are going to get very exciting, but you can be in absolute control. A lot of people are going to be feeling some things, so I'm going to change this prayer up just slightly. That's going to leave some keys, and keep in mind that you can come back here, from within an hour after the show and replay it here, but know that they're safeguarded up on YouTube at my YouTube channel. They automatically get uploaded, so you can be in there beyond 30 days replaying this information. So through divine power, okay, through divine power and by divine grace, all that is within you is also outside of you. That you represent the keys to your own infinity and your own divinity. And here in this moment, in this present moment, you are reawakening. You are rediscovering. You are restoring these imminent keys that will unlock the doors to yourself, to your deeper levels of consciousness. Know that every part of you is a part of a greater part. And every part of you, it is like a rung on a ladder. It is like the elements and lanes and corridors of even like a labyrinth. It is very much like your inner awareness and your outer awareness. And know that you shall begin to remember. And I see and decree that you Shall remember. When I use the word shall, it means without a doubt in your mind, you will remember. Know that everything that's within your reach, all of the different tools, some of the tools I may mention tonight, and other kinds of tools, you will be able to make the proper adjustments and you will adapt to any given situation. Uh, know that as you can now affirm this power within yourself, that you will understand and you will know everything. You will live a more compassionate and graceful life. You will have more seeds planted within you, and those that have been planted will be released from you, and all new things will come out of you. That within, the energy is getting real high, you can see it. Within your DNA is the plan, the divine plan of your true self. And you will no longer be disconnected from anything around you. Amen. And so shall it be, and it is right now. There are many schools of thought. If I were you, I'd tune into Super Soul Sunday. I'd definitely get onto Agape TV because all of these people that Oprah brings on, and all the works that Dr. Michael Beckwith has been doing for 20, 30 some odd years, this stuff is real. So these are tools that you can utilize, and you should use every kind of tool imaginable. And realize that when you use a tool, the tool also reawakens in you various degrees. Now, the word degree in itself means an increment of light. So that means that you're able to measure your levels of, we might say, success and discovery. You will measure even those areas or parts of yourself where there's some degree of uncertainty that you may have had. So there are many things you will want to travel into, journey into. So I want to touch upon a little bit of astral traveling tonight, which is sometimes referred to as soul traveling. I'm going to touch upon crystals this evening because that's a tool within itself. I'm going to touch upon candle vibrations. Many people always ask about, how do I interpret candle flames? And you can interpret candle flames um, after a while with ease. It's not difficult at all. You will understand how colors, but I'm going to stick with some grids because one of the things people should be applying are grids, grid layouts in their homes. Everybody has a different take on it. I've been using crystal grids and crystal grid layouts since the 1980s. So I'm pretty familiar with all kinds. People laying them on your body, laying them on your back. See, one thing you got to understand with crystals, not only should you lay them on the front part of yourself, you got your entire body to work with. So, if you have somebody that's working with you, that's laying on crystals, you could turn yourself over and rest face down, turning your head to the right or left, and a person can lay crystals on you that way. You can also lay on your side, your right side and left side, and a person can lay crystals too. So you got all these areas on your body that need the energy to flow. It's no accident when people go to acupuncturists, they're getting, the needles put in the front, but the needles can go in the back of you as well. And there's some very deeper levels of acupuncture where if you lay on your side, you can do that. If you've been to a chiropractor and let's say you have your hip out of joint, they're not going to just lay you down on your back, but when they lay on your back, they're going to see just how far you can lift your leg up, if you can bend your knee, if you can move your leg in the joint socket of the hip, and if you can, they can tell by the way you're walking. I remember I had some people that worked on me. I thought they were good, and they were doing something like a touch The only thing was the touch energy wasn't working for me because they were touching everybody in the room that was with me, and I realized that the energy at that time was being transferred to me. Whatever someone else was feeling, I was getting it. Then the chiropractor was passing that person's energy to me. So I was, some point, and this is way back in 2000, early 2000, I was picking up, all that energy that was imbalanced, then seeping into me. And there was a gentleman that would come to me for my creative pathway meditations. His name is Charlie, and Charlie and I had developed a good, solid friendship. Because what happened was, Charlie would have many people who were his clients, because he was a chiropractor and an energy body worker, and he would send his clients to sit in deeper realms of meditation with me, and the meditation helped them deal with certain issues, certain blockages, and then he could work with them further. And I went to him, and I was such out of sorts. I was almost like a person bent literally from the waist, almost looking at the floor. By the time I got to his front door, I was looking at the door jamb, even though I was standing up. I had no more, I couldn't move. He assisted me, his wife assisted me downstairs into his work area. Then they put me on a table, and I really couldn't move. And what he was able to, he was able to determine was that I was once in an auto accident, and which was true. He said that's where it really originated from. The auto accident, because he was able to see it. I mean, literally see it. What was happening at the time when I was in the car and everything. And I remember him bringing out a rubber mallet. Yeah, and I said, "What are you gonna do with that?" And he had me watching some cartoons. I would laugh. And he laid a towel on my hip, and he literally, with a rubber mallet, gently tapped my hip bone back into place. Now, when he first got it in there, I didn't feel right, but after he worked on my entire body, when I got off that table, I was standing straight up and down. I think I saw him 3 more times after that, just for him to make those adjustments. But reason why I'm saying this, we often are going to feel out of joint because there's so much energy that is flowing. There's so many people doing so many different works, be it shamanic systems, other occult systems, whether they practice in Yoruba, Santeria, all these other things. You got to keep in mind, all of these are different levels of energy being transferred, sent somewhere, received, deposited, flowed, you name it. All this stuff is going on. And what you might want to take into consideration, if someone is doing something in one locality, just like on an angle or a degree, 30, 40, 50, 60 degree angle, even more, 90-degree angle, there's other people doing something that is similar to what you might be doing or someone else is doing. So you got all of this energy that's popping out all over the place. And then you got this energy hitting different levels at the same time. So one of the important things people should be practicing is some yoga, some regular physical yogic exercises. They should be also practicing some qigong if they can get into some qigong classes. There's a lot of DVDs out there. There's a guy by the name of Lee Holden, been out there for a long time. He's got some excellent um, videos on qigong. And there's another guy. His last name is Cohen. I believe it's Alan Cohen. He's a qigong master. There's Bruce Francis, who I met many years ago, back in the '70s. He does many styles of internal martial arts: Bagua, Xingyi, Tai Chi, and he worked as a medical practitioner for traditional Chinese medicine in China with his different instructors, and now he goes worldwide teaching Tai Chi, Xingyi, Bagua, and how to use these things to move energy around in your body. So you might want to start getting into that. Other ways is to do some long walking with some deep breathing and kind of a rhythmic form of walking and a rhythmic form of breathing with it, so that you get this energy to flow up into your body out of the ground and up your legs and pelvis, and let it radiate out of your heart center. So, and I do teach Tai Chi only 1-to-1. Mine is what I call heart centered, so it's not based on fighting or anything. The only person that you're fighting, or the only entities that you're fighting, are those thoughts developed out of your ego personality. So, again, we are vibrational beings, meaning that we could throw out energy. We're sentient, which means we can sense and feel and communicate with the energy, and being that makes us even more vibrant and alive. Okay, we begin to resonate and resonate like sonar, re-sonar. You're sending out a vibration that you can link into, right? And yet you can match up with. So you want to be aware that all these things are coming together, and the energy becomes quite resourceful for all of us. So this is a beautiful thing that we begin to connect on higher levels and higher levels. Not only are you connecting on higher levels, but if you use all of these different grid patterns and experience these grid patterns with yourself, you could go out into this earth and you can work this energy and bring it up out of the earth and through the ethers. So one of the things I want you to get into a habit of doing, and this is a suggestion. Everybody's got their own ways. Everybody's got their own techniques and experiences. But as I say, mine come from dealing and working with crystals. When I was first introduced to crystals back in about 19, right after I almost in my junior senior year of college. So we're talking about 1972 to 1973 into 74, and then getting, at that time I was the Tai Chi was around 73, 74, and then using that with crystals and being out with tree hugging. So back then people would look at you if you're crazy in the park hugging on a tree, but I was doing it back then because I was learning it with various other groups of people. So what you want to be able to do, for all of you that are out there, and this applies to everybody, is start to allow yourself to resonate, to vibrate, to connect with the use of crystals, the use of sound, whether it's a Tibetan bowl or a crystal polished crystal bowl for toning, uh, tuning forks, and other sound mechanisms, gongs, you name it. You have to find those things that you can connect with, and then the more that you work with the flow of the energy, especially if you're dealing with sound, you can work with very, very low, low tones, very high pitched tones, mid range tones. You can work with the timbre, like how quiet you can get with it, and how loud you can get with it. And the sound or tones or notes are reflect and connect with your chakras. So you're working with that as at the same time, and the same um, with candles, with crystals, or also with oils. So you can go into all of those things, but you need to find what works for you. Okay, I might just suggest a few things that we know that are universal, but you got to go with those things that connect with you, and you have to find them and work with them. Many of you out there might work with herbs for medicinal purposes, holistic purposes. You should, just like your ancestors did, you should go into deep states of meditation and begin to really understand. So the spirit of the herb and you can connect. All right. To give you an example about the spirit of a herb connecting, one time I completed a meditation with another group I was doing on the east side here in Albuquerque, and my spiritual family that I work with and help mentor was with me, and they did some late night shopping and at a store, and they dropped me home, but they hadn't gotten out of the car. By that time, the energy had shifted with me, and I worked with a meditation group that was about 24 people in this little cafe, eatery, deli cafe, dessert place. And the energy was intense then. And then from that point, as my family dropped me home, I said, okay, this. I gave them their personal reading. My sister Renelle, her husband Billy, and his son William. And the very interesting factor was I felt this immense tall being, like kind of walk, and move, sort of like in the Lord of the Rings where they had the talking tree, the tree elders. This vibration was moving, and then I felt the car shift. Now they felt a little something, but to me it was a little bit more intense, but loving. And I saw the eyes of this being looking down into the car. Now they don't have a sunroof, so this being was looking down into the car, and I kind of kicked back the door because I'm in the passenger seat on the right in the back, and I looked up at the galaxies, and I could see this being who was quite tall and fibrous looking, and started to tell me that it was the reishi mushroom spirit and how old it was upon the earth, and how the mushrooms and the reishi mushrooms were used by all the royalty, and how in ancient Egypt they were utilized by the pharaohs. It was like their form of an aphrodisiac, but it was different in terms that they were using it to enhance their seeing abilities, their sentient abilities. And they were using it as states to rise their consciousness into a state of ascension, and for them to draw upon the spirits of their locality. So this reishi spirit mushroom began to speak, and I was able to channel the information and relay that information to everyone else in the vehicle. Didn't stop there, went inside, and even more information kept coming. So I say that is when you're working with your herbs, or if you're someone who is mastering the work with candle flames, or if you're someone who's mastering the work with oils, you need to really not just read about them, but you need to meditate upon them. And if I were you, using aromatherapy oils, especially if they're topical, meaning that you can use them directly on your skin, I would go into some very deep levels of meditation and then begin to experiment. The people out of the Yucatan areas of Mexico and going right on through Texas and coming here through New Mexico, southern parts of California, they were using peyote buttons, and they would ingest those things and trip, but they were tripping over with a master who could go into the journey with them and guide them through, really give them the experience that they needed to have so that they could have that altered state of consciousness. So I say that because everything that you hear me talk about on my shows, whether it's Blog Talk Radio or whether it's video streaming shows on Thursdays, it's designed to help you alter, which means to change your consciousness. And that's what a physical altar, when you go before the ALTAR, alter, you are altering, ALTRING, your consciousness. So really, that altar is an extension of you. If you put some element to represent earth, water, air, fire, those elements are inside of you as well. If you put crystals up there, the elements inside the crystals are also inside of you. You place colors in it, that's an extension of your auric field and the directions and the points that you're dealing with, and the angelic forces that you're working with, and all kinds of energy. So you have to find what works for you and how those energies can be placed into motion securely for yourself. So take for instance, when people are talking about they have a desire to delve deeply into um, working with crystals. I didn't put together a board as I should have, but I'm going to put together something here while I'm explaining this to you. But if you are working with the level of crystals, there's so many different ways that you can apply a crystal to yourself. And it's very, very important that you're the first person that you're going to have to work this energy with. And it's best if you work it on yourself rather than waiting to work that energy with someone else. Then by working the energy with yourself, you learn how it works for you, right? So I'm just going to do a little outline here as we go through the show to just let you know where you could place crystal points onto the body, because this will help you gain a better understanding for yourself, and so you know what to do in the future, whether you're working with other individuals or again you're doing it for you. Okay, and it's essential that you learn that it's okay to do these things for yourself. The more you can do for yourself, the better you'll be for yourself, right? So I'm just making a little figure here. I should have really had this kind of prepared, so this is not correct all the way through as it should be. It's just a marker to give you an idea of how to place certain things in general areas and how you work depending on what you're seeking to accomplish. So I just want to, as I say, touch upon a few of these areas, and then when I do my blog talk radio next week, and since I have a prior commitment, I won't kick it off at 4 o'clock next Wednesday. I'm going to do the show on Tuesday, October the 25th on Blog Talk Radio at 4 p.m. So people will still hear the information, and then it'll be in the archives. And then, of course, I'll be back here next Thursday. So treat this sort of like a introductory level, okay? And so as I was saying here, you want to find those tools which are extensions of yourself. And what you have to understand is when, in those times when the spiritual magicians or the occult practitioners were using the wands, the rods, and the staffs, those things back then, as they are now, are extensions of themselves. Okay? So you are the wand, you are the rod, you are the staff, you are the crystal, you are the cauldron. Okay? You are the tree. You're the water, you're the fire, you're the air. Okay, you are the earth. So these things are extensions of yourself. And so the whole idea is to use the tool to act as a catalyst, but then remember it's inside of you. The memory is already there. You just have to take the necessary stages and moments to reacquaint yourself with that part of yourself that knows how to do it. And there's thousands or millions of formulas that people have in which to do it. And again, this is just my way. Is it's not a matter of I feel I have the best or someone else feels that they have the best, but I'm kind of old school, and old school means use you. Use yourself, okay? Because using yourself is going to what? Heighten you anyway. If you use a tool, it's like, put it this way: if you hurt your foot, if you hurt your foot or your leg, your ankle, yeah, you'll be walking around with a walker or some crutches. But once that leg heals, do you continue to use the crutch? Once the leg heals, do you continue to use the crutch? Once the leg, the bones reset, once the muscles regrow and everything, and the tendons, once all of that starts to what? Strengthening itself, then what happens if you continue to use the crutch? Then you become addicted to the crutch. That's the same thing as people who take a whole lot of drugs to dissipate the pain and other things going on in their body. But if they're not careful, they become what? Addicted to the drug. Now they have this need to use this drug to get them where they have to go, instead of going within inside themselves and recalibrating themselves and then move forward. So we want to start doing things where we are working on ourselves all the time and taking your time. There's no need to rush. Take your time. If you need to, start creating journals for yourself or carry around a digital recorder so you can begin to record notes that way. And then that way you can sit back and then, add them to your journal and write them out. Now, one of the things you want to do is understand the placement of what you're working with. Okay, understanding the placement. Now I'm gonna put some little dots here so that we could work on a level and understand on a level. And I hope you'll be able to see this. Try to get it as close. I'm making some lines here. So you have a dot on the throat, dot in the center of the chest, which is for the heart chakra region. The dot underneath is the solar plexus. Then is the navel. Then that next dot is the sacral chakra area. And right down here would be where that cross line is at the bottom. Get my pen in here somewhere. Right here. Well, I should put a square there. Right where you see that little square, that's like where the root chakra would be. Now, if you're laying, crystals on a body, starting the grid, there are different ways. Sometimes you may have to first ground the body, with a spread on the body. But here's one thing that you should consider doing, and it doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor, if you're a massage person, doing this. People have the massage tables that people lay on, or they have the chairs which are you set your face in, and the person puts that chair together so that your knees and everything is comfortable, so your shoulders hang, and so they can really work the body into the spine and the pelvis. But it doesn't matter whether you're working with if you're a chiropractor, a massage person, a Reiki person, a pranic energy healing person. What you want to do is, the first thing is prepare yourself. That's the first thing you want to do. Prepare yourself, energize yourself, because you are a sentient and a vibrational being, just like the person who's coming to see you in your office, or maybe you're traveling to them. So you want to make sure that your energy is amped up. You want to make sure the environment, if they're coming to you, is clear energetically and amped up. So if you got crystals around, or you've got incense like sage going, frankincense, the myrrh going, copal incense going, you name it, whatever you're choosing to use, you've got to amp up the vibration. You can't have an area where a person's coming into low vibration, because they themselves are coming in low or hyper. And it can what? Dismantle whatever you have going on, because they are also a sentient being and a vibrational being. Okay, just like you are. So you want to make sure everything around you is in order. All right? And that also goes for all of your tools. All your tools should be vibrating at a high rate. You can check that with the use of a pendulum. So you want to make sure everything is vibrating, or dowsing rods. Make sure everything is wide open and vibrating at the rate that you desire it to be, because that space that you work in is being rooted, connected, seated with other energy chambers and fields just like it. And sometimes people who are working, they just focus on their particular physical energy field, etherically, emotionally, mentally, causal, all the way up into the Atma level, but they may not understand too that there's some overlapping that's going on, especially if you're dealing with various spirit guides. There are guides that are overlapping your energy. They're not necessarily directly in your zone, but they're sending you energy. You're receiving energy. So you're a generator and a transmitter. right? You're transmitting energy, you're building it up and sending it out. Then you're regenerating the energy. Then you're like a receiver. You're receiving the energy. This stuff is going on all the time. It's just not when you think, okay, ding dong, the doorbell rings, you let the client in, and then you sit down and you start work. It didn't start then. The minute the person was thinking about you and you were thinking about that person, that's when all of this began. In that essence, so you had to make some level of preparation, building into it. Those are the warm-ups, building into it. Then you want to sit down and discuss with the person what's going on with them. Part of that discussion is causing the person to relax. Another part of that discussion is you listen intently to what the person is saying. So, for instance, the person might say to you, I am not feeling well. Now, there's a system of training where you can go listen to the person and then say, you're not feeling well. So you're putting this information into the ethers, but you're connecting on it. If you hear the person saying, I don't feel well about myself, you might repeat to that person, but in a way it helps unlock the door. So you might put the tonal vibration in there differently. If they said, I am not feeling well about myself, you might say, I'm not feeling well about myself. You would pick the energy up for them, you see. And over a period of time, they will understand that they're in this like call and response. They're telling you something, but you're feeding it back at a higher vibration and a little lighter vibration. So by the time you move the person into the chair or onto the table, then it's already has shifted. You see, so you want to make sure that all these things come together so the person can work with you. Let me get a little bit of water. Now, when you're putting a crystal on a person's body, now I've taught this to other people in different ways, especially people who like working with crystals and incense and things. You work with the crystals, oil, incense, and candles. Sometimes, depending on your room, if you're going to use candles, you got to make sure you have ventilation. That will help, because you don't have stuffiness and dry eyes and sore throats and things for yourself or your client. So you got to make sure the air is always flowing through the room. And you got to make it so that they don't have too much light on them brightly shining in, because you're working with their energy field, which is going to pick up the sources of energy for the person, so they feel better acclimated to the space that they are in. So whether it's oils, crystals, candles, salts, you name it, incense cones and things lying around, all these are different layers, see, which are necessary, which different layers of grounding, peace, harmony, and happiness for the people, and healing and wellness that are coming to you. And then you're piggyback on that. You're also helping to unlock their fields of energy to help them release. So if you are working, let's say, with someone and you needed to ground them first. Now, again, if you have some training in Qigong or Tai Chi or some level of martial arts, you're standing up right over the person while they're lying down. Okay? And you're going to be picking up energy through the soles of your feet. So when you're working on somebody, you can't like lock your knees out. You got to keep your knees slightly flexed. So where the joints are with your own body, slightly rounded, so that you have the energy bounce through. You can feel the energy and kind of work with it much better, rather than straightening your leg out. Now, if you're laying crystals on a person, then you don't need to lay your body weight into them like a massage person and start, massaging the muscles and the tendons and everything, because you don't need to do that. They perhaps have someone who has done that for them, or maybe who has opened up the centers for you, and then they come to you and you're doing the crystal grids or layouts. So one of the things you want to do is you want to do something that grounds the physical body. You see, so one of the things you want to do is usually there are a lot of dark or black and brown and gray. These are colors. Which side I'm on here? I'm on this side. So you want to use black, brown, and gray. Okay, you want to use black, brown, and gray colors or stones because those represent a grounding effect. Just like I chose to wear the Healing Bear T-shirt, all right, but the color is brown because I want to remain grounded. I wear a black hat to ground, right? To bring the energy in the gold bands. Everything I'm wearing for a reason to bring out certain energies and ground it at the same time. Center the energy. So when you're working with somebody, you want to ground their energy, but center them first. You center them through conversation first. So you got to make it so that the person could be at ease with you, with the environment. And if it's someone that you worked on for a long period of time, well, they look forward for this session with you. So they are already doing their homework to be grounded and to be centered. Then when they get there, and this is something that you could do too, if they're going to sit on or lie down on a table, underneath the table underneath the table, you could lay a grid pattern. Now, it could be just the spinal column pattern, or you could lay it in a Kabbalah type pattern. You could lay a huge field of a circle, like you could get a a plate. It could be porcelain, or you could use a silver tray, gold tray, brass or bronze, and lay a cloth on top, like a silk cloth, silk or satin cloth that creates magnetism. Okay, and then you put those crystals on there and lay it under the center. Now, if the person gets there, and you can check by their height, then you can really work with it. You can move the plate, all right, with the grid on it, so it's opposite. It's facing coming up through the, let's say, the back door of the heart chakra, and you can catch it that way. So these are other things. You could have some different smaller plates of crystals so that you could interchange, you see, to do whatever you want to do to create this vibration that you're seeking to create. You can also, I've worked with situations with certain pranic healers, and they've invited me into their class, uh, and I set up crystals. I feel the vibration and anchor it in the room. I might anchor it in the corner, crystals in the corner. I might bring it 5, 10 feet out of the corner. Now the students are sitting right there, so I might place it between two students because I can feel the gateway of energy. So these are like different means or different ways to set up a grid pattern to create special alignments, right, throughout a place. So this is why it's very important to set the vibration up wherever you're working first. Set yourself and then set the room. Set yourself, set the room. Now if you're doing it at home, not only are you setting yourself, but setting the room, but you're gonna have to set the rest of the house so there's some balance for your apartment. Because you can have it nice and peaceful outside, but you might have somebody coming in with a big field of energy that can upset a quiet home. So you want to have certain things in your home that absorb energies, chi wise, such as certain you can use aloe plants, cactus plants for that. They're good. They act like sponges. They absorb that energy. When they split, you then get rid of them. Okay, or they dry out too much, then you get rid of them. Okay, but that's what they're for. They're raising up the vibration. You can take lemons. People use lemons for prosperity, hanging them high in your house. Well, you can take a lemon, a regular raw lemon, don't cut it open, and strategically place it in your home. You can put it on a dish just outside of the room you're going in. Or you again set up pillars. You can set up a vibration so the person goes right into that area and is catching this entire vibration. See? So these are things that you want to get familiar with and utilize it. There's certain systems where you can use an egg, without breaking it and roll it on the person's body to absorb negativity. That's another way. And then don't break the egg. Be very careful. Place it somewhere where you can put it outside in the trash or carry it wherever you need it to carry it to. So there's so many different ways. But when you're working with crystals, black crystals, brown crystals, and crystals that are slightly gray, like a smoky quartz. Um, Also, when you go to places, make sure that these are not the man-made kind. You'll get these very pretty crystals, that people kind of grow, as they say, because they learn the technique of growing it a little bit. And the crystal's all sparkly, but it's not doing anything. It just looks pretty. So you want a natural stone. It can be polished, or it can be rough stone, or it might come in different designs. Doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a pyramid, it's an obelisk, it's spherical like a crystal ball. You're using it, or as a tabular, it means it's just flat. It may be like an eighth of an inch thick. You can use that too on a body. What you want to be able to do is create the pattern that you're feeling to create with the person. So one of the things you want to do is, once the person is on the table and you're getting them very relaxed, you also want to place a stone or two or three between the feet, because that's very essential. Now it depends if you have uh, single or double terminates. I'm gonna put single, ST, or DT, which is basically comes to a point on both ends. And make sure you can camera angle. See that top one there where the shadow of my finger is? DT is two points, point on each end. Or single termination, where one end is kind of flat or rounded off and the other end is pointed. So you place that between the soles of a person's foot. Now I'm gonna put a star there because this star action, you see that? Now I place a star there because you could use it, like you could form gemstones to create a star pattern, a square pattern, or a single terminated going back and forth, double terminated back and forth, or going up and down. And it's best to start them back and forth, right and left, and then take the energy of a crystal point, and especially if it's a single terminated, and point it toward the feet, the area where the feet are. That way, you're extending the energy field of the root chakra, so to ground it. Okay? Then you can ground it. Now, going right between the person's leg, you can lay up there some smoky quartz if you want. Okay? You're just grounding the body. All right? People have had necklaces, and I have necklaces that I don't wear, but I'll drape them on a person's body. I'll take a necklace made of black tourmaline, a necklace made of hematite sometimes, and actually wrap it on the foot. Place it so it's moving like coiled a little bit, but sitting right on the point. So that what? It's creating that vibration that I need it to create. All right, because that's essential to the person's well-being. Now, uh, as you can hear outside, I have my celebrity team outside chit-chatting. Yes, we had a question here that came in about natural and I'm gonna call them a natural. Well, the difference between a natural stone and an artificial stone is that what happens is, yeah, you could feel them, or you actually could look at them, and they don't. Artificial ones don't give off anything. This is why it's best sometimes to go into crystal shops and select your crystals. Okay, usually the people that are working there, they can tell you, oh, that's a man-made one as opposed to the other. But sometimes they'll place them there as decoration. Sometimes they'll place them there to sell. And so when people do that, it's like cosmetic, you see. But you want more natural. Natural stones, if they're like clear quartz, celestial, or in the quartz family, you can see the cuts of the stone from inside the stone. That's how you know that it's natural. Even polished stones that are heavier, like tourmaline, you'll see like the little grids or lines